and then I got sucked into Red 5 Studios. Not sucked in, but these were some World of Warcraft.
For 10 years, man.
10 years, yeah.
Director of talent acquisition. You were there for a long time.
I was. There was always challenges. And it always looked like something great was going to happen. And, and door number 3 was going to open at any given moment. There was never a time where it's like, what are we doing here?
I think one of the greatest things that happened was building relationships and coming in contact with people that you wouldn't have met outside of
100%, man.
Because creating the product is one thing there. But I think I don't want to say downfall, but I think the thing that was the challenge mostly was that you got so many people who are professional, so many people in different disciplines that could make product, and we've proven that we could make and create. And I think it was we were a little bit before our time, and there was so much gray area where we were like the people in charge, the people that really have the hammer to place down to make decisions. I think there was a little bit of wild west of not knowing where to go, not knowing what to do, because what we were doing was brand new at that company. Because when you look at games now, you look at what Fortnite looks like, you look at what Apex looks like.
It's Firefall.
You look at there's another game coming out that looks exactly like Firefall. So I think when it comes down to the art we were creating,
I can't even believe we didn't make any money off that game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. It's like they had to work at not making money off that game.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I don't understand it either. I mean, I went through a time where I went all in on that.
Yeah,
project.
I did too.
And so
a lot of us did.
Yeah,
we put our heart and soul into that company.
And so I think some of us could see the vision of what this could be, and then I think another handful of people were just all about the money and trying to see how
somebody
much money
should
they
write
could
a book about it. I've been thinking somebody should write a book about that.
Yeah, and then there were people who they couldn't see it. They were just there doing a job. They were just doing whatever their tasks were. And I think when you have those 3 groups together, and then at the top, if no one's really orchestrating that, it's a recipe for disaster. Because now you have.
And I don't have that skill. I don't have that insider skill set. I don't know how to judge those people at the top. Yeah.
No, but you did a great job of bringing people together, and so that's what's important.
Yeah, but I'm sure those people were doing the best that they thought they could do at the time. No, nobody's purposely trying to make that not work. No. Okay, maybe.
I don't know.
We have some friends who might think that,
right? Yeah, right.
I'm more forgiving, maybe.
Yeah. So I mean, it's one of those things where, when it does come down to it, there was a lot of opportunity there. There was a lot of chances given, but a
lot of talent.
But when it comes down to it, I think there needed to be a visionary up front that could see the full pipeline or layout of the project and where it could go and what it could be, and I think
monetize it,
and how to monetize. And I think we just had people there to be like, "Oh, well, I'm only over this, and I'm only over that, and I'm only over this." And even though the 3 people over those 3 areas that I mentioned before, they were communicating, but I still think no one really knew. It was new. It was new frontier. No one knew where to go. I mean, when you look at games like Fortnite wasn't what it was built to be, what it became.
No,
the only one that was really built to be something was the Apex Legends that came out. They built that with the intent of being what it is. Even with Overwatch was not what it was. It turned into what, because they're all were trying to chase what was popular, what do people like playing, and that's how they made their money. There's another game coming out. It's a smaller studio, but it looks just like Firefall. So with looks out of the way and gameplay now coming into play with the MMO space, and the only real successful MMO has been World of Warcraft. If you look at longevity, so now you're trying to couple that with this art style that we have, and then it's a whole nother beast.
And don't forget too, we built back-end systems. Jeff Barabee built a whole DevOps team of 2025, and we're doing
there's a lot of technology that came out of
and now he's
that time period.
I think he's with Bethesda or something, or ZeniMax Online, building and managing all their systems. So much talent on the back end side too.
There was a lot of new things going on, and a lot of new tech.
The last 4 or 5 years when we got involved with the 9, which is a publishing house in China, we were able to work, as you say, working with the people. We're making friends with people who grew up in Shanghai. And they're coming to the States, and they're like, "Wow, this is so fun! Show me how to throw a baseball," right? And that was in my, I'm a lot older than you, but when I was a kid, I could never even imagine having a relationship with somebody from China and talking to them. It's this breaks down the whole concept of, getting
like
into
barriers,
politics
like
or something.
barriers,
But and the whole concept of nationality even goes out the window. Like, why would you talk about? He's the same as I am. Here's a guy, like a wizard or something like.
That's what you come to learn.
Yeah.
When you talk about social media and then news and mainstream media, like the picture's always painted differently,
right?
Where everything's negative and bad, and don't talk to people, don't do this. But when
they're the same as us.
Yeah, when you do get out there and you meet people throughout this industry, which is so amazing. They're people.
Yeah.
They're just people. Yeah. So there is the only difference
same
is
hopes
cultural
and dreams
differences.
you and I have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy, man. So director of talent acquisition, you were at Red 5 for 10 years. You built a lot of people. I think it says something here like you founded some of the key developers from World of Warcraft. Yeah, I think it was Mark Kern. Mark Kern was
our CEO. Bill Petrus is one of the founders, and he was the art director. Who was the art director on World of Warcraft? Who is the art director on Overwatch?
Yeah. He carried that style with him throughout his products.
A talent.
So you were there for 10 years. So in December 2006, was the studio just being formed? What was going on?
It was like probably, I think I was like number 20 or something like that. Yeah.
So you've been through
Tom Cadwell had been there, who is now the VP of Design at Riot.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
So you were there to hire up. I remember when I went there for an interview, you guys were in a small space before we moved to the area near Lake Forest. I wasn't at that one.
The Spectrum.
I missed the Spectrum.
That was really nice.
Because when I interviewed at one place, you guys just moved to a new space when I started.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so that's crazy. So what are some of the takeaways when director of talent acquisition? What does that change for you? You've already been your own employer. You already had your own businesses. You've already worked on small scale, large scale for staff recruiting and in that regard and talent acquisition. But now you're the director of talent acquisition. What changes? There's
other people that I'm responsible for managing, like sourcers and other recruiters. So we had recruiters in Shanghai for a while. We were building out a studio in Shanghai, and so I was responsible for that. And then we started hiring more additional recruiters in-house at Red 5 and sourcers and like a talent coordinator to manage all the interviews, and then a talent operations person to tell us how we're doing metrics and analytics and what that's all happening to. So that was exciting. And we would go to various trade shows and have a presence there. And if another studio shut down, we had an organization where we would go there to the studio and be there on site right away with our wares and kind of do our pitch. And one of the most amazing things that we kind of got famous for was called the Golden Ticket Program, which we had MSNBC at the time came and interviewed us, and Erin Burnett, who is now on CNN, has her own show as a newscaster, came to our studio and interviewed all of us. And she interviewed me for like half an hour, and I went home and told all my kids, and oh my gosh, I'm going to be on TV. And I was giving all these, don't forget vanity is the number one of all sins, right? I try to remember that all the time.
Out of 7, yeah.
Out of 7. It's the number one.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to be on TV for and it turns out there's like 30 seconds to me, at the end. But it was like a 7-minute, which is a long time. So the gist of the program is that we identified 120 developers in the game industry. Don't forget, these are really hard to get talent, very sought after. And at the time, there was a little, what was the iPhone? It was for just music. What was that called?
I think it was the Nano?
No. Oh my gosh, I can't even think about it, man. It was like the first music that you had, like an MP3 player. Only it was an Apple product.
Anyway. The iPod?
Maybe.
Talking about just the iPod, right? The one that was like a brick, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, we sent those out to everybody, right? And there was 120 in this like really like kabuki kind of case thing. It was really, we paid somebody like $40,000 to develop it in San Francisco and everything. It looked really cool. Like, how do you open this? How do you open that? Like, only a gamer would be into that. And then inside was the iPod and a direct message from our CEO, Mark Kern. And it was very specific, like, hey, Edward Bowman, this is Mark Kern at CEO. We finally able to talk. Hey, we've admired your animation skills for a long time at, what were you at, Vicarious Visions?
That's
really?
Correct. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty good. We've admired your skill set for long, and we think you'd be great at Red 5. Why don't you log in to red5.com/67506, and let's continued the conversation.
That's
So
cool.
sure enough, we sent out 120 people logged in. And when you logged in, welcome, Edward. Here's your job at Red 5. Here's what your day-to-day would look like. If you're interested, contact, Jeff or whatever, We ended up hiring like 4 people, which is, out of 120, it's about a 4% return. Maybe,
Now, did people,
like
what was that? Did people think it wasn't real or something? Because that's kind of unheard of to get, not poached, but to get approached in that
a very
way.
unique way.
So what happened for it to be, you hired 4 out of 120?
They were like the people that we hired were like blown away by it. Like, wow, how unique, how creative, how special, and how, you thought about me.
And
right?
those are the people that you were like, hey, let's bring these people on.
Yeah, and we were lucky. We hired like Eric Lasso, who was our AI programmer for years. He's now at Google, very successful, heading up their AI programs. I still talk with him all the time. We play chess all the time online. He's my chess buddy, brilliant chess player. But having an AI programmer is not an easy thing to get, as you well know. And we hired our design director, Scott Youngblood. Came from that, and he had worked on a game called Tribes, which was a similar type of game that we were talking about at the time. Yeah. So we got to be very successful by that. We had an article in the Wall Street Journal about us, and from my perspective, like I said, it was a great recruitment tool because it identified us as, wow, these guys are special. They care about talent. They're creative, and they'll go up. They'll put their money where their mouth is behind going out and finding top talent. And that's golden press, man. How do you get that kind of branding that came out
and that's
of that?
exactly what you did.
Yeah.
Like I do applaud you. You found a lot of people.
It was really good.
Who were very passionate about their discipline, and it's rare to have a team built like that these days. So I do applaud that. That was pretty awesome.